Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
It's
Good
our
morning, everyone.
it's our pleasure
Sorry,
to
sorry for the. Yes. You tell?
let me introduce. So,
Yes.
our pleasure, and we're extremely sorry that there was some technical issue with the laptop of our resource person. Anyways, it's our pleasure and honor to have with us Professor Soman Sahu. Sir is Professor, Department of Fishery Economics and Statistics, West Bengal University of Animals and Fishery Sciences, Kolkata. And the topic chosen for deliberation is uh, COVID-19 consequences in the cultural sectors. Sir, you are audible as well as visible, and presentation will be handled by me. One request I would
Okay.
want to make is once you say next, there would be a certain amount of delay from me pressing the next and it getting reflected. So please bear in that in mind. Have a little bit of patience when you say next, and it will take some time to switch to the next PPT. So please
Okay.
carry on, please start, and I'll handle the presentation.
Okay. Okay.
Is it
Thank you very
visible?
much.
Is it visible to all of you? Presentation PPT.
Visible, sir.
Okay, okay.
I'm extremely sorry because just starting of my PPT, just 5 minutes before my laptop crashed and the motherboard was gone. And then I have tried, but all the options. But last of all, I am very sorry. Very sorry, I could not present in my the lecture in the proper time. Okay. My topic is COVID-19 consequences in agricultural sectors. So basically, next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes. So basically, I have divided the total topics on five broad headings. One is the introduction of the topic. Second, Indian fisheries in the pre-COVID-19 period and how pandemic is affecting fisheries and aquaculture food system and mitigation measures and conclusion. So basically, in fact, we all are affected, not only the aquaculture sector, but all over the world, everybody, every creature is affected by positively or negatively by the effect of COVID-19 pandemic. And the positive effect is to the nature, to the natural creatures, the wildlife. There is a positive effect to the source of oceans. There is a positive effect, and for the human being and for the others, there is a negative effect. And basically, how pandemic is affecting the fisheries and aquaculture food system. I have mentioned the seven sectors. One is capture fisheries production, another is aquaculture production, post harvest, market and trade, hatcheries, feed mills, feed sellers, and farmers. Next, next, please. Starting from the Wuhan city, China on December 31, 2019, COVID-19 pandemic has embolized the world by its health and economic shock. And this is our thinking that from Wuhan, and there are so many organizations, they are searching for it, whether this is a biotechnologically modified thing or not. By observing the terrible extent of the outbreak, World Health Organization declared COVID-19 as a global emergency on January 30, 2020. Next, please. As the disease is As the disease is highly transmissible, the ways of flattening the curve include the imposition of self-quarantine, social distancing, travel restrictions, close down of different public facilities, transportation, even lockdown of the entire country. Next, India is the India is the second largest fish producing country in the world with 6.56% of global production. Around 14.5 million people are engaged in fisheries and its allied activities in India, and it has been estimated that around 60% of the total population consume fish. Next. Fisheries sector of the country contributes about 1.1% to the overall GDP and 5.23% to the agricultural sector. Indian fisheries in the pre-COVID-19 period. The COVID-19 shock is playing out in almost a similar manner in all around the world by squeezing out demand and supply and the consequent economic slowdown. In India, the problem might be long-lasting because before the pre-COVID-19 period, Indian economy had deteriorated significantly after years of infant performance. In 2018 and 19, India's fish production was 13.34 billion metric tons, which was about 6% greater than the previous years. As per seafood export in concern, it is the fourth biggest exporter in the world seafood. In 2018, India exported 13,77,244 tons seafood, which is attached to it 7.08 billion. And you are seeing a structure. Basically, we have a problem on effect on the aquaculture sector, basically on the production sector, then the processing sector, then the distribution sector, then markets, and for the consumers. And the disruption in the production sector is large scale, medium scale, and small scale. We have divided into three portions. In the processing section, there is ambient section, frozen section, live and fresh section. For the distribution section, that is local, domestic, and international. And for the markets, the market is for food service, public markets, food retail. And for the consumer section, it is high income, middle income, and low income. And the thing is that for all these, for production, it is production disruption. For labor processing, labor disruption is there. For distribution disruption is there. For market, supply disruption is there. And for the consumer, demand disruption is there. All these things are controlled and delivered in the lecture in the next phase. Next. How pandemic is affecting fisheries and aquaculture food system. Next. The drop in demand, which in some cases has resulted in reduced prices of fish and fish products, have stopped or reduced activity for many fishing fleets as their work has been unprofitable. Sanitary measures, physical distance between crew members at sea and fiscal markets, and lack of necessary equipments are making fishing difficult and can also cause a series of activity. Limitations of input supplies, that is ice, gear, etc., due to suppliers being closed or unable to provide inputs on a credit basis is yet another constraint on the fishing industry. Globally, the impacts on catches have varied, with many countries setting sharp drops in production during the first weeks of the crisis. In addition, the movement restriction for professional seafarers and marine personnel who have not been permitted to disembark in ports and transit through national territories have prevented crew changes and repatriation. Next. This has resulted in cases where fishing crews have been stranded for many months at sea on vessels or in foreign countries and without wages, thus becoming a human rights crisis, especially for migrant and transitory workers. This is an area that needs building back better to ensure in future situations these vulnerable workers have social protection. Aquaculture production, please, next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. The aquaculture production sector is extremely diverse, both freshwater. Basically, I am just giving some key points. Exactly the aquaculture sector, we are making it a broad way for three sectors. One is for aqua capture fisheries, another is for brackish water fisheries, and another is for inland fisheries. And in all the three sectors, there are problems arising from the people who are dealing with the culture. If there are problem of transportation, and the first phase of near complete lockdown on people and mercantile in an attempt to block the spreading of the virus, many countries have been able to resume their activities to the extent possible, allowing businesses such as aquaculture farms and companies to resume production by respecting a series of preventive measures. Nonetheless, the economic environment of aquaculture production and markets remains highly volatile and uncertain, which necessarily impacts the activities. In many countries, fish production is considered an essential activity contributing to income, household resilience, trade, and food security. So it is expected that farmers will continue to take care of their fish and not give them away gift nor dispose of them. However, the sector will possibly struggle to sustain its activity or maintain its planned production cycles, as it might find that markets, supplies of production inputs, but also access to credit are stopped or significantly reduced due to the current lockdown and economic slowdown. Next. In some other countries, such as Peru, the shrimp farming industry is more than 70% on external seed supply, and due to biosecurity restrictions, they are having many difficulties importing at least the minimum quantity of seed needed for next production season. Labor layoffs may also increase due to the confinement measures in the short term, but also because of financial or cash flow issue facing farmers, or travel barriers for seasonal or migrant workers in the medium to long term. Some countries have exempted the aquaculture sector from lockdown measures or established guidelines to regulate the exercise of the free movement of workers during COVID-19 outbreak. Next. Low market demand has been a main concern for most aquaculture operators worldwide, as this has direct negative impact on quantities sold and price per unit, reducing revenues. During lockdowns, the farmer supply the live fish markets have been struggling with growing live fish stocks that cannot be sold but still must be fed for an undetermined period. Farmers can reduce costs slightly by feeding at maintenance and not growth rates. However, some feed needs to be provided to keep fish alive. Cash flow and access to credit may be another challenges because of the additional cost incurred in the absence of revenue, especially if aquaculture clients are also affected by the crisis and they delay payment for past deliveries. Next. Another adoption has been to process and freeze fish that have reached their commercial size to keep them in cold storage. On the other hand, small-scale aquaculture and fish farming operators in areas where fish imports are important may benefit from reduced competition, especially if they can secure their retail markets. The world and famed farmed aquatic food sector, along with the majority of industries, has to deal with an uncertain demand outlook as well as an array of supply challenges. With the effective shutdown of the restaurant industry in many places, food service demand has reduced substantially, while retail sales have been marked by extreme volatility. For example, sales of fresh fish in France, Italy, and Spain declined by 30%. Next. In addition, many seafood trade events around the world have been cancelled, leading to lost transactions between major buyers and sellers who depend on these regional events. Fresh fish processing is affected by worker health and resulting staff shortage due to COVID-19 illness and required quarantine of staff. Fish processing factories in many countries have closed due to COVID-19 positive workers. Processing operations may also be disrupted due to workers' demand for better health and safety conditions. This reduces processing capacity and output. Furthermore, the low demand for fish leads to production disruption and a need for processors to increase storage capacity to cope with incoming raw material and finished products. Proactive processors, next. Majid, next. Proactive processors have reacted by putting stringent controls in place, including the physical demand for packaged, canned, and frozen products has spiked. Demand for packaged, canned, and frozen products has spiked as households look to stock up on non-perishable food. At the same time, online distributors are reporting increased interest as housebound consumers explore retail alternatives, for example, private box schemes. Next. Next. Overall, however, demand has sharply reduced and prices have fallen for many species, particularly those that are targeted at the food service industry. Changes in demand are also affecting storage of fish and seafood, which is a high value perishable food product, resulting in increased food loss and waste. However, at consumer level in some regions, there is evidence to suggest waste is reduced as consumers are tending to shop smarter and also to freeze the product rather than throw it away. Next. Proactive processors have reacted by putting stringent controls in place, including the physical distancing of workers and temperature tests in a joint effort to ensure that global trade flows continue to be as free as possible. The heads of FAO, WTO, and WHO called for the prevention of disruptive border restrictions measures on trade in food to avoid food shortage, emphasizing that the dissemination of information on food-related trade measures is fundamental. Demand for packaged, canned, and frozen products has spiked as households look to stock up on non-perishable food. At the same time, online distributors are reporting increased interest as housebound consumers explore retail alternatives, for example, private box schemes. Next. Next. Overall, however, demand has sharply reduced and prices have fallen for many species, particularly those that are targeted at the food service industry. Changes in demand are also affecting storage of fish and seafood, which is a high value perishable food product, resulting in increased food loss and waste. However, at consumer level in some regions, there is evidence to suggest waste is reduced to consumers are tending to shop smarter and also to freeze the food product rather than throw it away. In aquaculture production, overload storage facilities are common due to delayed production cycles associated with broken supply chains and uncertain demand. Transportation by road or sea must contend with closed or restricted borders and customs and health inspection delays, while the large-scale cancellation of flights has directly affected trade in some high-end fresh products that are transported by air. All these aspects have increased transport costs. Next. Despite the falling global demand for air transport, the cost of air shipment has risen significantly. Many wholesale and retail fish markets, particularly in less developed countries, are often congested and crowded, providing infection risks to traders as well as consumers. In some countries, retail markets have been highly regulated to secure physical distancing and other sanitary rules, which indirectly refrain consumers from accessing the market and thus reduce income for fish traders and fishers. In more developed countries, retailers have adopted home delivery and e-commerce services to address infection risks. The outlook for the global fisheries and aquaculture sectors continues to be dominated by the wide-ranging implications of the COVID-19 pandemic and the new market landscapes. Next. Fish supply, consumption, and trade revenues are all expected to decline. Global aquaculture production is now expected to fall for the first time in India in many years by some 1.3% sectors with longer production cycles such as salmon cannot adjust rapidly to the demand shifts, though shrimp and pangasius farmers have been able to quickly reduce their output significantly. Global catches from wild fisheries are also expected to decline slightly, as overall there is a reduced fishing effort due to COVID-19 related restrictions on fishing vessel crews and poor market conditions. Next. The market effects of the pandemic have brought about several far-reaching changes, many of which are likely to persist in the long term. Aggregate prices for 2020 as measured by the fish price index were down year on year for most traded species. The importance of retail sales has significantly increased at the expenses of food services, as the hospitality sector has remained subdued. Consumers who are trying to limit frequent visits to grocery stores and are concerned about future lockdowns have shifted their seafood preferences towards preserved and prepared products, while demand for fresh fish has waned. The necessity of home cooking is a new focus for marketing campaigns and online distributors, while product innovations created, centered, and convenience are proliferating. The economic downturn and rising unemployment are affecting household incomes, with demand for luxury products such as lobster awakening. At the same time, sales of canned tuna, sardines, and mackerel have been a boost. Next. The necessity of next. Hatcheries. In the hatchery sector, seasonally played a major role in determining the timing of hatchery operations. No hatcheries operated in February and a few 9% opened in March. We have made a survey and the result is based on that survey. The number of operational hatcheries increased gradually from 64% in April to 91% in July. Hatcheries that closed between April and June did so for reasons related to COVID-19, including inability to access inputs or transport. Between July and August, all closures were due to hatcheries having adequate stock to sell, perhaps suggesting that demand was low. The number in operational hatcheries increased in September until all hatcheries was no longer operating in October and November. Next. The average number of hatchery operating days per month followed a similar temporal trend, rising from 0 in February to 16 in July. And all these things regarding hatchery, all these things are given in the next slides. Next slide. In February, March, all the data are given. Because I have shortage of time, I have to conclude very soon. For feed mills, please. Surveyed feed mills, we have also surveyed the feed mills and went for basically operated in February to March, because the culture, depending on the culture period and for the supply of the feed to the farms, they are basically operating hugely from February to March. The number of operating mills increased gradually in May and June, and all other operational again by in July. This fell slightly to 80% from August to October, but returned to 100% in November again. The average number of days that mills operated by each month followed a similar pattern, dropping from 29 days in February to 0 in April, before climbing to 14 days in May and 26 in July. Closures related to COVID-19 were the most common causes for pausing operations in April and May. These reasons included input suppliers being out of stock, reduced rail and road transport, preventing movements of inputs, and inability to hire transportations. Next, please. Raw material prices increased gradually over the survey period. Between February and March, the average procurement price of raw materials increased from Indian rupees this to this. And these slides are giving the exact data which are related to the feeding sector. And for feed mills, feed sellers, please next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Non-pelleted feeds include maize, rice bran, mustard oil, coil cake. Pelleted feed sellers sell floating and sinking feeds. Almost all non-pelleted feed sellers operated in all months apart from April when all the operations stopped. Regions, one thing, how much time I can get? Hello? Hello? Okay. Regions reported for pushing business operations were all related to COVID. How
You
much
have
time? Yes?
up till 12:15.
Oh, 12:15 I can get. Okay. Thanks. Regions reported for pausing business operations were all related to COVID-19 in some way and included restrictions on movement by road, out of stock input suppliers, low demand, and inability to hire transport. A similar pattern of business closures and operations was reported by respondents selling palatable foods, but with 20% remaining shut in March and May. The procurement price for non-pelleted feed ingredients was fairly consistent throughout the survey period. Although the average requirement procurement price of non-pelleted food ingredients decreased from Indian rupees 23,324 to 20,142 plus minus 14% between May and July. Prices remained around this level from August onward. Next. And from May to November, procurement remained stable at an average of 172 ton, except for the months of June and October, when the lowest amounts of ingredients were procured, and July, when the highest amount of feed was also sold. The lowest amounts of feed sales also occurred in June and October. The price of non-pelleted feed sold by surveyed mills increased gradually from February to October, likely reflecting rising input prices. The sales value per ton of non-pelleted feed was Indian rupees 20,300 in February for the last year. Prices steadily rose to Indian rupees 26,188 in October before falling back slightly and for 24,342 in November. The procurement price for pelleted food feed ingredients remained relatively stable between July and September and around these 55,000 and for October 38,000 and for November 50,000. Next. However, this fell by 54% between July and August and dropping even further 25 ton in October. The main non-pelleted feed ingredient procured and sold was mustard oil cake. The average sale price of pelleted feeds was fairly consistent over the period February to November, although was relatively low in October. The amount of pelleted feed sold climbed from 115 ton to 220 ton between February to March, but dropped drastically in April to only 65 ton pelleted feed sales around the May to September. All these data are for the last year lockdown period data. Next, please. Farmers. Unlike other actors surveyed, all farmers remained operational from February to November. The share of farms procuring inputs dwindled from 35% in February to 15% in April. There was a peak in input purchases in May, reported by 60% of farms, but the share of farmers who reported buying inputs subsequently declined to 24% in June and then fell further to just 4% from July. Another peak in input purchasing occurred in August, reported by 58% of farmers, before falling and rising again from 16% to 32% between September and October. We have surveyed over 315 farmers and in the region of Midnapur, South Chobis Pargana, North Chobis Pargana, and in the some portion of Nadia. The main feeds purchased were mustard oil cake, rice bran, and shrinking feed. Average feed prices remained steady at around Indian rupees 23,400 from February to November, except in May when prices peaked to 46,580. Next. Next. Between May and July. Accordingly, जाओ. Accordingly, nearly all surveyed processors stopped operating in March and April. Reasons for doing to include COVID-19, raw material price being too high, 25% increase, the fishing ban 25% increased, seasonality 25% increased. From May to July, all processors stopped operating completely due to the enforcement of the annual fishing ban. A 42% decrease in the quantity of fish processed sold and a 46% decrease in revenues was reported between February and March 2021. As fisheries and fishers began operating again between August and November, most fish production, 80% of the respondents likewise resumed activities during these months. Next. Mitigation measures. So we are clearly mentioning that for COVID-19, government has to take several measures. One measure is social distancing, another measure is lockdown. And lockdown along with social distancing have given some effects on the industries. And the market is slowly go down. And the prices and the availability of the other things are basically in curse. So the mitigation measures are impoverished section of any society are vulnerable to any disaster or pandemic situation. India being an agricultural backbone country with 85% small and marginal farmers, in which maximum are landless, farm laborers, welfare measures must be taken by both state and central government to protect them from COVID shock. Next, please. During and beyond the lockdown, every farmer, agricultural labor, workers involved in the supply chain have to be protected from health and financial damage, as most of them are losing their earnings from informal payments. They have to be provided with possible means of living till the economy recaptures. Proper awareness during farming, like social distancing, in harvesting, procurement, marketing, packaging, proper sanitization, personal hygiene, wearing face masks will help to prevent the spread of the pandemic. Next, please. Farmers with perishable products like fish need continued markets. The government should develop a strong procurement and distribution facility at a minimum support price for fish and fishery products, which will be helpful for the farmers and as well as for the consumer point of view. Promotion of fish vending door to door through different state fisheries corporation should be emphasized. The government should also take some initiation for the smooth operation of retail, wholesale, marketing, distribution of fishes via a smooth transportation corridor. Financial assistance, social protection for the farmers and their families must be taken up. At present, out of 140 million beneficiary farmers, only 84.6 million were under PM Kisan scheme as per the Economic Times 2020. Thus, government should increase the inclusion as well as the number of installments to safeguard the profession and community. Next. Alongside providing advisories, government should provide a toll-free helpline to address the grievances of farmers, solving queries related to farming and marketing. Institutional lending of different agricultural loans should be expanded and facilitated for a smooth flow of credit for the farmers. Blockchain technology should be incorporated in the seafood sector, which will be facilitated smart contracts and to increase the efficiency of supply chain, which could minimize the current pain of global seafood industry. Moreover, a separate complete financial package along with detailed guidelines must be developed for the aquaculture and capture fishery sector of the country for protecting the industry and associated population from tremendous effect of the pandemic. It will also ensure the speedy recovery of the sector. Next. Last of all, conclusion. COVID-19 outbreak has been deemed a global health emergency, and its impact on developing countries like India is one of the heightening concern. With 1.3 billion populations and the precarious situation of the economy in the pre-COVID period, prolonged lockdown would be ruinous for the economy, especially agriculture and the allied sector will be in a most vulnerable condition. India, with its apt governance, took the situation as a challenge and doing in all way of possibilities to combat with the pandemic. At the same time, the government and policymakers need to be prepared to minimize the impact of the shock and V-shaped recovery of the economy in the post-COVID period. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you, sir. There are certain questions in the chat. One of them is, what about the ornamental fish market economy?
Exactly, for the ornamental fish market economy, as the production is being very lowest, because in the sector of West Bengal, what we are finding in these zones, because the market is in another place and the production sector is another place. There is a problem of transportation, and there is another problem for the market holding in the different places. So in the case of ornamental sector, there is also a huge loss for the producers. Next, anyone?
Any other question, please ask.
I am very sorry, because never in any time in my life I am not. I have always been right time. But my the motherboard of my laptop has crashed just 5 minutes, before the presentation, and my desktop, that is at the when I am starting that is also configuring the process. I am very sorry. To all the participants. I have already sent the PPT to.
Yeah, it will be made part of the YouTube video, sir. They will be getting it. Any other question you have, please ask. We have few minutes before we end the session. Please ask.
But I cannot present it very nicely, because there is an hectic thing is there now, because the time is short. I have to discuss so many things, because this is a new sector. Because in the future days, in the future days, you have to cope up with these things, because it is not like that. The pandemic has gone. The third wave is intended to come in the mid of November, and then again it has an impact for over 1 or 2 years. So for the spectrum of a 4 years or 3 years, and with the consequenting years, we have to think and we have to make our policies in such a manner so that our farmers and our agricultural and aquaculture sector must be sustainably survived. And we all people have to think over it, because the export markets at any time it can be contracted, because when we are in the time and phase of exporting the things, there are some banned from the other countries. So we have to develop another things. We have to energize the processing industries from which we can give the sell out product in the future days. And ऐसे करके हम लोग को कुछ सोचना पड़ेगा. आप लोग को सबको सोचना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये एक आदमी का काम नहीं है. Government will take the decision, because we are not free from the pandemic situation. And if we people are thinking over it, it must be beneficial for the farmers and the people of our country and of the world. Any questions? Any questions?
There is one question kind of thing by Pritikana Datta. Production is not less, sir, but demand was very low.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is about, but can Pritikana Datta ask her question?
Yeah. What is the question?
It's a comment basically. Production is not less, sir, but demand was very low.
Demand is obviously it will reduce now, because people are not going up outside. They are very much thinking about their own production. The social distancing is there, lockdown is
Sir,
there.
it was just a comment on the ornamental fishery.
No, for ornamental fishery, the thing is that then I have to go to. I'm giving you the whole scenario of the ornamental fishery. In West Bengal, basically the ornamental fisheries are clustered in 2 to 3 portions of the districts. One is in Bakra, another is in Purba Mendipur, Tamluk and Nandakumar region, and there are some in Amtola and Bishnupur region. These 3 regions, they are basically enriched in this ornamental fishery in West Bengal. And what is happened, as there is no local market for the ornamental fisheries, the market is totally export and through a via marketing chain. And when the lockdown period and due to COVID-19, this chain period has been broken. And for that, the production is there, but the marketing process will stop. And that's why the market fall. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, right, sir.
Because the market is basically for the eastern region, the market is from the Galip Street market in near Sambajar, Talapar, Galip Street market. So for due to
Right, sir.
lockdown, it was totally stopped, Galip Street market. So the sucking market from where the consumers are taken, that was stopped. So the production flow, the marketing chain was blocked. And that's why there is a problem in the ornamental fish sector. Okay?
Thank you, sir. I don't
Thank
think
you, sir.
there are any.
Thank you, but I am not satisfied with my lecture. I am not satisfied at all because for technical issue I have already late for half an hour.
Sir, what I can do is if they have any questions or they want to proceed,
They
with
can.
any- yeah, they can comment on the YouTube video, which we'll be sharing, and they can directly approach you. I think you have shared your email on the presentation itself. Let me if I can share it again.
Okay.
I'll share them with your email in case of any questions or any.
My email ID is, you can write it. This is my email ID. Okay. This is my email
That
ID.
I shared with them. In case they want to interact with you, sir, they can directly.
Okay, no problem. Okay, no problem.
So if there are no further questions, what we can do is we can consider the session to be closed. On behalf of the participants and on behalf of the organizing and managing committee, we want to express our gratitude to you, sir, for being with us. And we have today a little paucity of time. Otherwise, I would have asked you to continue. Why? Because we have a valedictory session coming up. So thank you on behalf of the students as well as on the basis on behalf of the organizing committee. Thank you once again for this lovely presentation and the interaction at the end. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you for bearing me. Thank you for bearing me. Okay.
Everybody can join back at 2:30 for the valedictory session. It will be from 2:30 to 3 p.m. only. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Thank you.